Hello, I'm back. I'm back with Matt.
Hi.
This is Matt Shaw. And Matt, in January next year, is going to the Andes
Yep.
to climb Aconcagua.
Hey!
I've had such trouble.
Yes.
I've had such trouble with this name. It is the highest mountain outside the Himalayas. It is 6,962 metres high.
It is.
There, I've done my homework.
Well done. Good job.
And this YouTube channel, it is called Success from Clarity, and I'm doing dialogues of exploration with people. So, Matt, you have actually tried to climb this mountain before. Matt, the January before last, so 2018. Matt got within 150 metres of the summit, and had to turn around because to continue would have probably been certain death. So the mountains, of course, are an energy that is not to be fought with. The mountains are obviously a huge place where we are exposed. I'm very familiar with mountains, not to the level of Matt, but it brings a clarity beyond anything in my experience. So now, Matt, so you're going back, so tell us a bit about your previous experience and what has led you to want to go back to the mountains.
Yeah, it was an interesting experience. It was the hardest thing I'd ever done, the altitude being the main obstacle to overcome. And we were unfortunate when we went to the mountain because we had a really bad spell of incredibly cold weather, which then made the whole altitude thing even more difficult. And with hindsight, I was with a group of 3 others. We were doing a self-supported expedition. One guy who was in the group had been to the top of Everest and been on K2 twice as well. So we were with somebody who was experienced. But none of us, including the guy who'd been to the top of Everest, were prepared for the temperatures with what we experienced. And I got within 150 metres from the top and was coming down with some pretty bad altitude illness, swelling of the brain, which is kind of beyond your normal altitude sickness of headaches and nausea.
It's not beyond.
Yeah, and I was losing control of my legs and getting funny tingling feelings in my body and starting to hallucinate and just utter exhaustion. And so anyway, managed to get down off the mountain after a huge 5-hour effort, and we'd taken 10 hours to get to near the summit from there, so it was a long old day. But when I got back from Aconcagua, I was completely exhausted, and it took me about 3 months for me to feel warmth in my body again, and then a further 3 months on top of that to feel like I had any level of fitness. I just didn't want to do any tough stuff. I'd had some races planned to enter in that year, which would have required me to dig deep, and I just knew that I didn't want to dig deep anymore. And so I just let go of the idea of doing anything that asked too much of me on a deeper level or asked me to do anything that was hard.
What kind of insights or lessons or what came from that, or did you just feel exhausted?
No, it was exhaustion, which I didn't acknowledge for quite some time. I didn't even acknowledge what really happened to me on the mountain on that day. I came back and I was just like, right, okay, I'm fine now, crack on as usual. And then I continued to train when I got back to the UK, but then what happened was as the months went by, I just got increasing pain in my body and I lost mobility in my hips. And I just remember just waking up every day with pain in my knees, my ankles, my hips, and not enjoying my training. And so when I looked at myself as to what was happening, and I just kept having this recurring thought of I'm done with doing tough stuff, was I listened to that and just instead spent the time restoratively moving with some alternative training, which was very light and movement based and didn't ask a lot of me on a deeper level.
What an interesting thing, because Matt is an awesome personal trainer and he has a company called Train Strong, so his whole life's work is actually working with people at finding the inner strength, really, isn't it? So although you work with people's bodies, my observation is it's always been a holistic training. So were you asked to do what you teach? Was it amplified back at yourself in some way?
Yes, I believe in walking the talk, and so whenever I coach my clients, it's always from the place of being trying to help people to listen to the body more, and to get into the inner knowing that's in the body as opposed to in my head of my pattern in the past has been one of push, and can't be weak and can't surrender to these things, whereas now, through the work I've done with myself and the clarity I've gotten through that work, is I now recognise when it is time to hold back and to listen and to not repeat patterns that have held me back previously. And so I work with clients in order to try and help them to see where they also hold themselves back, where they don't listen to their body.
It does sound to me, listening to you with what you've just said, that to find your vulnerability and to find the place of absolute, the body's limits, you've had to take yourself up the highest mountain outside the Himalayas to discover that.
Yeah.
And in discovering that, you found that place of vulnerability. And did it change how you were with yourself and your clients in any way?
It did, because it allowed me to really start to listen to my body more. And when I say listen to my body, it's like an inner knowing, rather than it being something that's thought.
Yeah.
It's just like a draw in my gut feeling of this is what I need to do now. And so it led me into doing some light mace work, really looking at my nutrition, making more time for mobility, and just stopping doing all of the running that I was doing at the time. That stopped pretty much immediately once I listened to myself properly and was just like, this is not what I need to be doing right now.
So it seems like you went kind of back to basics and rebuilt, but in a different place, out of a place of greater clarity.
Yes.
And then what's occurred is that you have found this desire to have another attempt at summiting Aconcagua.
Well done.
I did look.
That's 2 gold stars.
And you've got a whole process, a whole project of crowdfunding and inviting people to support this adventure. So do please tell us about that and the process of.
Yeah. So a few months back, I noticed in my own training that I was starting to want to, extend myself a little bit more. My body was feeling good. I was feeling stronger. My energy levels were back up. I didn't have the pain in my body that I had before, and so the inner part of me started to want to do things that were a little bit more intense again. And from that place, a few months back, I recognised the little voice within me that was like, I feel like I'm ready to try the mountain again. And so that's what I did. I listened to that. I've booked my deposit, and now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to inspire others to chase their dreams and to listen to their inner knowing more by trying to climb this mountain and trying to get to the top this time. So I'm operating as a crowdfunding experiment, for want of a better word, because one of my long-term goals is to climb the top of an 8,000 metre peak in the Himalayas, and so therefore I'm using this as a way of kind of seeing what I can achieve through crowdfunding and inspiring other people through my journey. And in return for the crowdfunding, what I'm doing is I'm offering various tiers of services. So things like free workouts, Skype calls, mentoring, presentation once I get back from Aconcagua with motivational talk, in the way of trying to reach out to more people in order to chase their dreams. And
yeah, it sounds so good, very exciting, and you will be going on this journey in a completely different position from whence you began the first one.
Yes.
So it's a completely new experience, even though it's the same mountain.
Yeah.
So where can people go to support you with the crowdfunding? And you have a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So where can they find you?
So my GoFundMe page is called The Strength is Within Aconcagua Again. My YouTube channel is Strength is Within Aconcagua Again. So if you would like to be part of that, then you can visit me on both of those particular outlets. I also have a website, trainstrongpt.co.uk, where I've got a number of blogs as well, where I'll be writing about various aspects of my preparation over the next 6 months in order to get to the top of Aconcagua.
Very good. And we can do updates too.
Absolutely.
So fabulous, Matt. Well, it's very, very exciting and very interesting that it is the same journey but completely different.
Yeah.
And this is the whole thing with life. We might go in a cycle and then have to go around and work something more out, which hasn't been done.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
No, fabulous. Oh, yes, fabulous.
Yes.
The English language is very odd, isn't it? Thank you very much for watching.
Thank you.